I was wiping grease off my hands when my son burst into the garage with a paper in his fist, and his face lit up like a summer morning. "Mom! I got first place in the science fair. They said my engine model was the most creative." I dropped the wrench. My baby. His name was Nate, 9 years old, brown curls, scrapes on his knees, and a brain like a supercomputer. I hugged him hard and whispered, "I'm proud of you, Nate. So proud." But deep inside, a familiar dread twisted, because I knew what would happen next. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. That weekend, my parents were throwing a town fundraiser at the old community hall, their favorite stage. They ran the local business association, plastered their name on every donation box, and strutted around town like royalty. They hated that I worked in a car repair shed, didn't have a husband, and wore jeans instead of pearls. And they especially hated that I brought my son, their reminder of my failure, anywhere near their perfect little world. But Nate wanted to show them his prize. "Maybe they'll say they're proud too," he said, eyes bright. I should have said no, but I didn't. We showed up in our cleanest clothes. Nate wore his only blazer, clutching the certificate in both hands like it was gold. My father spotted us from across the lot and frowned. My mother's lips tightened. We hadn't even stepped inside when Dad barked, "What are you doing here? This isn't a charity picnic." Before I could speak, Nate held up the paper, smiling. "I won first place. I built a working engine model with recycled." Dad snatched the certificate and crumpled it. "First place in trash collecting, huh? Guess your mom taught you well." My stomach dropped. Nate blinked, confused. "It's not trash, it's—" My mom leaned in, her voice low but sharp. "You're embarrassing yourself, boy. Just like your mother does." A few heads turned. People slowed near the buffet table. The mayor glanced over. "Why'd you bring that thing here?" she hissed at me. "Can't believe you birthed that. What's wrong with you? Raising another leech? One wasn't enough?" Nate flinched. I stepped forward, furious, but Nate, sweet, sweet Nate, held up his hand. "You're not nice," he said, voice shaking but brave. "You shouldn't talk to my mom like that. She works hard." That's when my mother laughed, a cruel, high-pitched laugh that echoed through the entire hall. "Oh, how cute," she said loudly. "The little rat speaks, like his mother taught him manners in a tool shed." And then it happened. My father raised his voice, arms wide, performing for the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, behold, trash raising trash, now with talking privileges." The room erupted in chuckles. One woman clapped, another man whistled, and then more. Snickers, whispers, grins. It spread like fire. My son stood frozen, his bottom lip trembled. I'm not trash." Mom leaned in again, right by his ear. "Oh, sweetie, you're worse. You're a mistake." I couldn't move. My whole body was frozen between pain and fury. My son ran out of the hall, through the side door, into the lot. I chased after him. He sat behind my truck, curled up on the concrete, clutching the torn certificate. "Mom, why don't they like us?" And I broke. Something inside me snapped, not like glass, but like chains. "I don't know, baby," I said, "but I promise you, they're never going to laugh at us again, ever." That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, listening to the silence, and started planning something no one would see coming. Not revenge with noise, but something slower, smarter, permanent. They thought they humiliated me for the last time, but this time, I wouldn't walk away. I'd bury everything they built, piece by piece, until the town that laughed with them forgot their names. The next morning, I pulled on my coveralls like armor, but I wasn't fixing engines today. I was about to build something else, quietly, piece by piece. I started by walking into every business my parents funded or bullied into submission, people they owned through donations, interest-free help, or silent blackmail. One by one, I approached them not as a daughter of the Honorable Mr. and Mrs. Caro, but as me, Dana, the mechanic, the single mom who never asked for favors. You want to get out from under them? I'd ask. The hardware guy, the tailor, the cafe girl, they all looked at me like I was crazy, until I told them what my parents had said to my son, to his face. That little rat. Trash raising trash. He's a mistake. Their eyes changed. See, my parents didn't realize one thing. In a small town, your mouth travels faster than your car. And when the queen calls her own grandson a mistake, people remember, especially the ones they'd stepped on for years. I started helping them, quietly. I fixed the bakery's delivery truck for free, repaired the laundromat's broken heater, changed tires in the back alley for a woman whose shop my mom had tried to shut down for bringing down property value. Word got around. Not that I was rebelling, but that I was useful, reliable, different from them. Meanwhile, my parents thought I'd disappeared again, crawled back into that dirty little shed. They laughed louder, got smugger, until the town council election started. See, my parents were used to winning unopposed. Who'd dare go against them? Me. I didn't announce it publicly. I filed my candidacy papers quietly. Then I waited. While they boasted about another easy win, I sat at diner tables with the shop owners they'd mocked. I sat in the back of church meetings, on porches of elderly residents who remembered being denied help during the flood 3 years ago because my father didn't think they were worth saving. I didn't make promises. I listened. My son sat beside me through all of it, still quiet, still a little broken. But he watched me, saw how I sat with people instead of towering over them, saw how people leaned in when I spoke, not because they feared me, but because they respected me. "You're not like them," he said one night, curled up beside me in bed. "No," I whispered, "and neither are you." That same night, my parents hosted another fundraiser. I wasn't invited, so I didn't go. But someone else did. The cafe owner stood up and asked publicly why the town kept honoring people who mocked children and tore up science fair certificates. A few others clapped. My mom turned red. My dad fumed. The whispers started. 2 days later, a petition surfaced online, anonymous, but well-written. It asked the town to consider replacing the old blood in the business association with someone who knew the value of hard work, someone who raised her kid to be brave, not silent. It went viral, in our small-town way, meaning everyone at church, the market, and the PTA was talking about it. And then, the final straw. Someone printed Nate's science fair certificate, taped back together, and pinned it on the bulletin board outside the community hall. Next to it, someone had scrawled in red marker, "Trash builds engines, snakes build nothing." My parents saw it the next day. My mother tore it down, screaming. My father blamed me, even though I hadn't written it. Didn't need to. The town was writing my story for me. Election day came fast. I wore jeans and a plain blue shirt. No makeup, no entourage. They wore matching suits, held press photos, and tried to act graceful. And then, the results. By 6 p.m., the whispers turned into laughter. Not the cruel kind, the victorious kind. My name had more than tripled theirs. I didn't smile when I won. I just looked at Nate and said, "This isn't revenge. This is correction." He nodded slowly. "Can I say something this time?" I handed him the mic. My son, 9 years old, walked up to that podium, looked into the crowd and said, "My name is Nate. I build engines from scraps. My mom fixes people, and my grandparents. They just break things." The crowd went silent, and then clapped, louder than they ever had for my parents. I didn't cry. I just put my arm around my son, and watched my parents leave the hall without a single person following them, not one. They didn't speak to me for a week after the election. No rage texts, no threats, no apologies. Just silence. But it wasn't peace. It was panic, because the same people who used to greet them with fake smiles and forced laughs now crossed the street, looked down, whispered. My mom tried to host her usual Friday tea party. No one came. My dad went to the local barbershop he used to brag about owning, only to find the chair empty and the barber humming one of Nate's engine videos that had started trending locally. Every time they stepped out, they saw me. Not in person, but in flyers, on signs, on the lips of the people they'd once controlled. Then the school incident happened. Nate came home one day, holding something behind his back. "I didn't let them laugh this time," he said quietly. He pulled out a flyer. It had been handed out in school. My mother had tried to sponsor a library upgrade, hoping to win back public image. Except the school rejected it. The principal had written a statement and sent it to every parent. "This school accepts donations, not manipulation. We are raising thinkers, not trophies." It was the same principal my parents once mocked for marrying below her class. I asked Nate if he wanted me to respond. He shook his head. "You already did." But I wasn't done. Because revenge, real revenge, doesn't just hit reputation. It hits comfort. It hits identity. And for people like my parents, comfort was control. So I went for it. I rallied every business they had helped. Those quiet partnerships where they lent money and expected absolute loyalty. I helped them find new accountants, new suppliers, better options. Not for me, for them. One by one, the web of control collapsed. The bakery changed its lease and cut them off. The tailor hired his own lawyer to renegotiate their deal. Even the town's paper, which once printed their charity galas like gospel, ran a headline, "Trash wins town's respect and keeps it." It wasn't even about me anymore. It was about everyone they hurt. Then came the day they showed up at my garage. I heard the car door slam, heard the heels, the familiar angry march. I didn't look up right away, but Nate did. He stepped in front of me, arms crossed, chin up, just like I used to do when they screamed in my face. My dad's voice cut through the air. "Is this what you wanted? To humiliate us?" I didn't move. My son answered, "You did that all by yourselves." My mom's eyes flared. "We're still your family." I stood then, wiped my hands on a rag, walked until I was face to face with her. "No, you were a brand, a name, a curse. And now?" I leaned in, quiet. "Now you're a headline no one cares to read again." She slapped me. Hard. It didn't hurt, because no pain could ever match what they did to my son's voice, to his hands, to his belief that maybe he was trash. So I smiled. "Thanks," I said. "You just sealed it." Then I turned around, walked into the garage, and closed the door in their faces. Behind me, my team kept working. Nate picked up his wrench and sat on his stool, building a new prototype he'd designed himself. Outside, for the first time in their lives, my parents stood with no audience. No followers, no power, just silence. It was never about getting even. It was about taking everything they used to build their fake throne and giving it back to the people they stole it from. That's not poetry. That's justice. And in our town, trash runs things now because we build, and they just rot. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.